Hi, I'm Rob, and today we're at the Leather Bottle in Mattingly. So as you can see, very old pub. It's 1714 it was built, roughly, and it was built as the White Lion. Later became known as the Bottle, and then became the Leather Bottle. Now they say leather bottle because before glass was widely in use, people used to carry leather pouches or leather bottles around, and a pub would hang out a leather bottle from a sign, and that would indicate to people that they could refill their leather bottles with ale. So this road from Reading through to Southampton by Basingstoke was really famous for highwaymen, or infamous for highwaymen. And in 1670, one William Davis, also known as the Golden Farmer, would operate along this road. What he used to do, he used to sit in a pub and eavesdrop and have a look at who had riches, and then he'd go out shortly before they left, and then further up the road, jump out of the bushes, stand and deliver. He was a wealthy corn merchant, wealthy a lot of the time because of the highwayman activities, but he was finally caught up with, and he was hung at Tyburn in London in 1670. So also from this neighbourhood was Captain Blood. Now Captain Blood was the chap that very nearly got away with the crown jewels. In 1670 he went to the Tower of London, and he was disguised as Parson Blood, and he made friends with one of the yeomen there. Now this friendship bred a little bit of trust, and the yeoman led him into the tower to go and look at the jewels while he was being entertained by Parson Blood's nephew and niece. Parson Blood managed to get into the glass case where the crown jewels were kept. He stove the crown in, flattened it, put it down his breeches, and tried to get off with the rest of them, but the yeoman, smelling a rat, finally caught up with him. Now you would have thought that King Charles, when he found out about this, being the crown jewels, would have had the bloke hung, drawn and quartered, but King Charles actually liked a character, and Captain Blood was certainly a character. So the punishment he got for this was a parcel of land that was worth £500 a year in Ireland. Apparently King Charles liked a bit of a card. So we begin our walk by leaving the pub garden, going back out onto the main road and making a right turn. Then we're going to turn left into this lane here. At the little junction we head back as if we're going onto the road. So Mattingly Common is open access land, but a bit too many stingers, and bearing in mind we want to go there to that turning, we've just come back up the road. We've avoided this stretch of main road, which is very busy and a bit dangerous, and we're going to cross over and head towards Hartley Whitney. So pretty soon into the junction, footpath sign to the left, which takes us up this drive. So we pass this lovely house to the right, and take the path across the northern edge of the common. Pumpkin Patch Preschool. What a lovely place for the kids to start their life in education. So we come out of the preschool and we're going up to the road, turning right, and there's a lovely pond over there with a duck house. So we pass Church Cottage and we follow the footpath through the grounds of Mattingly Church. So a lovely yew tree there, and yew trees of course revered by Christians as a symbol of Christ's death and resurrection, and that's because the branches can dip down low, as they do on this one, and they can touch the ground, and a new tree can grow from the old. So very lucky the church is open. the bell ropes here. So there's 2 bells up in the tower. Lovely, very unusual church, all timber framed, and it's not got a name because it was a moot hall once, and that's a place where people would meet. So Mattingley Church, 15th century church. You can tell from the timber frame and that lovely herringbone brickwork. Lovely building. So we leave the churchyard behind. And we take the path through the bushes there to this gate. So at the finger post, we follow the path round to the left. And pretty soon we come across the River Whitewater. A lovely little bridge. So these gardens you walk by, it's actually Dipley Mill, and Dipley Mill has been there since the Domesday Book, or a mill has been there since the Domesday Book, and it's currently open as gardens and tea rooms. So we've just crossed the bridge at Dipley Mill, and there's a Second World War pillbox. There's no door on this side, the door's on the private land. Let's see if we can see through the gun port. Ooh. Oh, that's a refreshing change. There's no graffiti on the inside, probably because it's on private property. There's a plant pot with a plant of some description in. That's all very nice round here. So private gardens, you can pay to go in, but the footpath runs right the way through, and we keep following it down this way. So we've got a few goats grazing over there. So at the post we follow on to the right, past the goats. Those goats in the distance turn out to be black sheep. So at the bamboo we come out of the gate and we turn left onto the lane in the village of Dipley. So we come through the village and we're going to turn left at the footpath sign. Morning.
Morning.
And the path leads to the right by the fence. A few stingers there. So spotted a windsock over there, and there's a grass airstrip for somebody. Very nice. Yeah, cross over Stoken Lane. this is a very nice, very genteel walk. And we're turning right down the track. A lovely position to live in. A lovely big pond. A nice long drive. So we come out on the road and we're going to cross over into this road down towards West Green House and Garden. More about that later. So this lovely oak tree, we're taking the footpath through the woods to the left. In case you were wondering which path, there's only one, but it's an excuse to show this carved snail on top of the post. So lovely and cool walking across West Green Common, nicely defined path. Lovely walk this. So we soon come across a junction with a bench, put there by Hartley Whitney Parish Council. And we're turning right. I wish the film could do this justice, but that is one magnificent oak tree. Look at that. Anyway, onward. So that's a lovely place to wander, West Green Common. Lovely trees there. And if you're a National Trust member as well, you can go to West Green House and Garden over there. And even if you're not a National Trust member, they've got a little tea room which is outside of the actual house and garden, so you can go and have a cup of tea without actually paying to go in or to be members. Anyway, there's a plaque here. Let's have a look, see what it says. That's a little schematic of the paths around the common. Anyway, we're following on and our footpath will skirt West Green House. So this is West Green House. It was built in 1720. It's Grade 2 listed, and it was built for a chap called General Sir Henry Hawley, who was known as Hangman Hawley, because in the Jacobite uprising of 1745 he led the charge of the English against the Jacobites, and he was pretty brutal. So in 1957 the National Trust bought the house and they leased it out to Lord McAlpine. It hit the news in 1990 when there was an attempt by the IRA on Lord McAlpine's life, and they bombed the house. The whole of this facade you see here was completely demolished by the blast, and the National Trust thought about demolishing the whole house because it was pretty much unsalvageable. A lady called Mrs. Marilyn Abbott purchased the lease of the house for 99 years. The condition was the National Trust could do up the outside, the shell, but she would take responsibility for doing up the insides, and she would also take over the day-to-day management of the house, and the Trust would step back. That's why if you come here as a National Trust member, it's a little bit odd because although it's a National Trust property, it's not like any other National Trust property you go to, because Marilyn runs it as pretty much a private concern. It's very well known for opera in the gardens in the summer, and it's got some beautiful gardens, and it's well worth a visit, so do pop along. So we leave West Green House behind and over the stile, and we follow the footpath across the field, although we go through the gate as it's open. Well, that's interesting. Production village. Either there's an opera in production here or they're making a film, I don't know. But we carry on up the footpath and see. So there's rehearsals going on for an opera at West Green House right now. It's going to be performed next week, and it's Eugene and Hagen. So we've come up the track, we've seen the opera, and at the water trough there we carry on this nice mowed path across the field. You may be able to see a grasshopper there it is, moving around. At the back end of the park, there's metal railings, which take us out. Across a lane. Oh, that's a heavy metal railing. and we cross over the road and continue to follow the Brenda Parker Way towards Damala's copse. Well, there's where your Wheatie Bix comes from. Lovely, lovely paths on this walk. Everything my North Goarly walk wasn't. So look out for your yellow footpath signs as we turn left to head down towards the river. So at this point, don't carry straight on, but go diagonally through the field on a lovely cut path, again to show the farmers up at North Goarly how a path through crops should be. This is exactly it. Metre plus width, nice and clean through the crops. Stops you walkers doing damage and also stops you from getting those horrible blinking husk things on your socks. Nothing like walking through a field of crops, especially when there's a lovely defined path like this. So we cross the crops, and a footpath sign the other side is a little footbridge, and we're crossing across the footbridge. There's a youngster. And we head back to the bridge, which crosses the River Whitewater. So across this lovely footbridge over the River Whitewater. Popular spot for the locals coming and having a dip, I think.
This is my test run, this is my wheel. Oh, I'm not going to have this one. That is big!
So after the bridge we've turned right and followed the footpath round the field to skirt the edge of this field. So beware of the 12-volt fence. Trev just got a jolt. But it was a green jolt, look, it's run by a solar panel. First time I've seen that before. Anyway, as you get to this bit, the path bends round to the left through this gate. So now a nice long straight path back to the main road and the pub. There's some very nice properties here, and pretty soon we're back on the busy main hook to Reading road at Mattingley, and we walk along the verge back to the Leather Bottle. Of course, if you follow this road to the end, another famous resident had his estate there. I believe there still are branches of his family there. It's Stratfield Say, and of course the Duke of Wellington, famous for the Battle of Waterloo in 1812 and inventor of the welly boot. Hero all around, especially if you're a walker. And here we are back at the Leather Bottle. So that was a great walk, 4 miles, nice little one, perfectly flat. Beautiful riverside scenery, lovely commons and woodland. Highly recommended this. Beautiful pub, as you can see. Food smells good, beer's good, and so's the orange juice. If you like that walk, then please like and subscribe, and maybe I'll see you on the next one.